Okay, so the National Achievers Convention Conference, whatever it's called, and day one review. There was Sandy Jadeja, Sophia the robot. Who else was on there? Clement Chang, that was not investing in my book, and who else? Angela Middleton, she was good. She was flipping hot for a 57-year-old. Absolutely stunning and in great condition. Who else was there? A few others. There was a guy called Alan somebody that was promoting the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power for next year. All in all, a great day, but too much of a pitch fest, and they were all pitched at around the £2,000 mark. So just about to go in and watch Sandy Jadeja again on an early session this morning, 8 o'clock start, and I'll check back in later when I've done day 2 of the conference. So day 2 of the my review of the National Achievers Congress at Resorts World in Birmingham, UK. Birmingham to our American friends, and the first person I went in to see in the early session was Sandy Jadeja, and it was just a re-pitch of his trading strategies, and great presenter, but I've done trading for a long time, so not something I'm going to be buying into. Second up was Richard Tan himself, and as funny as he is, a 30 grand pitch, £30,000 to buy into the program that they were offering. Next up was Paul O Mahoney, who's a social media guru and has a company called Rethink, and yeah, another great pitch, and I think it was about 1,500 for what he was promoting. The biggest takeaway from his presentation was that you don't need a USP anymore because pretty much everything's been done already out there. And the second takeaway is that failure is a prerequisite to success. So don't think failure of a negative connotation. And from that then, the next up was Tai Lopez, and his takeaway was basically look around the corner and get ahead of the game, find out what's going to happen ahead of the masses, and if you can do that, you're in a prime position to succeed in business. And what he did was he asked the audience to shout up their website or Instagram profiles, and he went through some tips and hints on their websites, and so that was really interesting to note what he was saying to people about having people on your website so that you can be relatable. And we had Cheltenham's own, because that's where I come from, and Cheltenham's own Hera clothing guy shouted up and got his Instagram account looked at. And there were some recommendations for him on that as well. So that was really interesting from Tai Lopez. Next up was Elena Cardone, and she just did a bit of backstory into their life, and it wasn't always easy. Yes, they're multimillionaires now, and they've got a nice lifestyle flying around in private jets all over the place, but it wasn't always like that, because in 2008, when there was a market crash, they were in pretty dire straits, apparently. So that was Elena Cardone, and she basically bigged up Grant and brought him onto the stage, and then we were down to the big guns, obviously, of Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk. So Grant came on and he was hilarious. He's a very good presenter. He's got $1.5 billion worth of real estate under his control. I don't know if he actually owns all of that real estate or whether that is just under the control of his various companies. Not sure. But the takeaways I got from him were that money follows attention. So Gary Vaynerchuk says more or less the same thing as well, that money follows attention, and to basically get cash from wherever you're getting it and buy assets. Don't use your cash for things that won't appreciate. And again, that's obviously really key information, and it is well known, but we don't do it, do we? Because we buy things that depreciate, or we spend money on things that aren't going to create a lifestyle or wealth in the longer term. And yeah, he was pitching his 10x, because constantly getting us to repeat 10x throughout his presentation as a bit of fun, but you know, subliminal messages in there for his 10x pitch fest. I can't remember the exact pricing of his 10x program, but he's coming to the UK next year to London. So that was Grant. Great presenter, love what he does as well, and makes a lot of sense. Clearly a successful businessman, and he went down really well in the presentation. But then as the grand finale, it was Gary Vaynerchuk. And he literally flew on the stage and did a Q&A session, didn't talk for very long, did a Q&A session, which was great, but he was over really quickly. And yeah, the takeaways from him is, why are you playing in the middle? You should be out, that's the safe zone. You should be out at the extremes, you know, looking left and right and getting in an area where you're not comfortable, but others aren't playing in that area as well. So that was one of Gary's takeaways for me. And the second one was, he talked about, if you are chasing the dollars and chasing the money, you're being lazy, because the money is not relevant. If you are giving incredible value and knowledge to people, the money will follow. And if you're enjoying the process of what you're doing as well, the money will come. So focus on that rather than focusing on receiving the money. So that's what I got from that. And thirdly, a takeaway was, give without the intention of manipulating someone into making a purchase from you. So we within sales, we are typically going out there with the sale in mind. And what he's saying is, if you give enough value, the sales will actually happen. So don't give what you're giving with the intention of manipulating people, because you'll get found out. So they were massive takeaways. Gary did not pitch at all. When he came on stage, he basically said, here's the price of what I'm going to give you, and he drew up $0 on the whiteboard. So that was really refreshing, given that the rest of the presenters had talked about pitching their products and services. So that was really refreshing from Gary at the end there. But like I said, the questions and answers were great, but he was literally only on 45 minutes, I would say, in total. So for the price of the National Achievers Congress, I paid £59. There was various tiers of entry. I think it was great value for 2 days, and I networked with a load of great people as well. So from that perspective, absolutely awesome event. Love it. I go back, and I shall be signing up for more conferences in the next few months. So look out for those reviews. But overall, yeah, really enjoyed it for the price that I paid. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch up real soon.
And give a big welcome to your next speaker, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk.